Chapter 0 of the Orange Fairy Book. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Paul Brown. The Orange Fairy Book, edited by Andrew Lang. Preface. The children who read fairy books, or have fairy books read to them, do not read prefaces, and the parents, aunts, uncles, and cousins who give fairy books to their daughters, nieces, and cousins leave prefaces unread. For whom, then, are prefaces written? When an author publishes a book out of his own head, he writes the preface for his own pleasure. After reading over his book in print, to make sure that all the U's are not printed as N's, and all the N's as U's in the proper names, then the author says, mildly, in his preface, what he thinks about his own book, and what he means it to prove, if he means it to prove anything, and why it is not a better book than it is. But perhaps nobody reads prefaces except other authors, and critics, who hope that they will find enough in the preface to enable them to do without reading any of the book. This appears to be the philosophy of prefaces in general, and perhaps authors might be more daring and candid than they are with advantage, and write regular criticisms of their own books in their prefaces, for nobody can be so good a critic of himself as the author, if he has a sense of humor. If he has not, the less he says in his preface the better. These fairy books, however, are not written by the editor, as he has often explained, out of his own head. The stories are taken from those told by grannies to grandchildren in many countries and in many languages: French, Italian, Spanish, Catalan, Gaelic, Icelandic, Cherokee, African, Indian, Australian, Slavonic, Eskimo, and whatnot. The stories are not literal, or word-by-word translations, but have been altered in many ways to make them suitable for children. Much has been left out in places, and the narrative has been broken up into conversations, the characters telling each other how matters stand and speaking for themselves, as children and some older people prefer them to do. In many tales, fairly cruel and savage deeds are done, and these have been softened down as much as possible, though it is impossible, even if it were desirable, to conceal the circumstance that popular stories were never intended to be tracts and nothing else. Though they usually take the side of courage and kindness, and the virtues in general, the old storytellers admire successful cunning as much as Homer does in the Odyssey. At least, if the cunning hero, human or animal, is the weaker, like Odysseus.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?